documentation and preparing for the loss of our spouse, actually, you know the statistics. There are more widows than widowers, and men have very difficult time when you lose the spouse. Why? Because first mother pampered us, then sister pampered us, then Bobby came and pampered us, then came wife. Sorry, but I never learned how to do things by myself. And a lot of us are in the same boat. So when we lose spouse, it becomes very difficult. So this is a little longer. I'll try to make it shorter. So it may feel like a fire hose, but hold your questions and I'll be hanging around so you can ask my questions. I have my cards also. You can call me, you can send me an email. I'll talk about three parts. One, your life story, your legacy. While you're alive, we should plan on sharing our life story to our children and grandchildren. Then I'll talk about why should you think about planning for a retirement to a community centric, which is CCRC. And the last I will talk about a simple CCRC where we live. Okay, first question. How many of you are 90 years or older? No one. Okay. How many between 70 and 90? Good chunk. Okay, thank you. But this shows why I'm asking. First of all, congratulations. If you passed 65, then you are on the 7% of the whole world. Out of 7.8 billion people, 93% die before they reach 65. So, congratulations. However, there's a caveat for USA. If you are 65-year-old, then your longevity, which is just a number, but statistically, longevity is 83 years for male and for female is 85. Life is getting short. Some may live longer, some may not. So, my appeal to you is start planning. Write your life story for your legacy. Ashish had done a small group presentation on the documents that he talked about. One of the things he talked about creating a legacy. And I have Mr. Upadhyay give me a book by his friend. Very interesting. Letters to my letters to our grandkids. This he wrote to tell grandchildren about their life, their philosophy, their struggle, and so on. This is a living legacy that will live for children, grandchildren, great grandchildren, something we should be thinking about also. And some of the questions that Ashish had raised is we came to the USA from India, some other countries. I know some people came from Africa, Kenya, and Uganda, and so on. But we hardly had anything in our hand. When I came in 1969, I was given only $8 to leave the country. And I hated myself because when I landed in Los Angeles, I had to go to the bathroom and I had to pay 25 cents to get into the bathroom. So it was 3% loss of my instant wealth that I had. My children wouldn't know anything about it because they grew up with plenty. My mother and father had gone to jail for what? For Quit India movement. At first they said, what? Your mom went to jail? But once they learned, they said, wow, wish we knew this thing. So the kind of things he was reading is that we have enough struggles that we went through. We had triumphs also. But how would our children know that? Unless we share. And unfortunately, we cannot share in person anymore. They have their own life, they have their own family. If they visit, they may not have really hour or 2 hour to sit down on one. So there are ways to do it. One of this is the book. So in our value system, how do they know that? Most of us, if you do introspection, you will realize that your value system and your behaviors are more or less molded after your parents' behavior and their value system. I know that I am more spiritual because of my mother. I'm more intellectual and adventurous because of my father. I would not have known that. And I know now my children, when they talk and when they behave, I see where it's coming from. So part of the thing, list of questions that Ashley said that you should think about to tell your story. Where were you born? What was it the childhood home like? Boy, when I start thinking, a lot of memories flood my mind. What do you remember about your parents and grandparents and joint family? Like in old days, I had my uncle and everybody we lived together. No more now. Why did you migrate to America? And what was the hardest or easiest part of assimilation? What sacrifices did we make? Your memories of traditions, prayer, like in my home, Satyanarayan Puja was important. We used to have that every month. That tradition is still in our mind. What are you most proud of? What blessings you want to pass on to your children and grandchildren? So the question comes up as how do you do that? You can take paper and pencil. Just some of the questions that we talked about, you can start writing from that. You can do audio recording. On your phone, on Android phone, there's an app called Google Recorder, and on iPhone, it's called Voice Memo. You can start talking. And I did that to one of my uncles. Without his knowing, I turned on my recorder and I asked him a question. And he talked for 2 hours. And people were so amazed because they had not heard all the stories of his life. Now it's a living document. They can open it anytime they want to hear his voice and learn about his life. You can do that too. If you're using Windows, there's a command called Windows key plus H key, and you can start talking. Microphone will come up. You can have a Google Docs. If you go to Google Docs and go to tools, and there is a voice typing. There are many, many apps in the market also. Most of them, of course, will charge you. And I have looked at all of them. I would say almost 90% of them and more are coming in the market. And I will tell you why. But none of them has easy way of recording. They send you one question a week and it may or may not be relevant to you. So what we are doing, we are developing an app for the seniors to document their life story with audio, with pictures, with video clips, with guided questions which will be based on your persona, not just, I have like 1,200 questions that I have collected, but they may not be relevant. So one of the things app does is to understand your persona, your background, and then will ask you the questions. We will have several different versions of it. One is PDF, other is printed color book like this one, other is creating your digital twin, and I will show you what digital twin is. And the digital twin will talk. So even though you may not be alive anymore, but your avatar will be able to talk, which will summarize the book itself. And then there's a last one, I will show demo of all of this, which is an interactive AI avatar, meaning avatar comes up and then you ask a question and the avatar will answer the question based on your life story. No hallucination. Only what you have written will be shown. This is a fictitious story about Hasmukhlal Vora from Bhavnagar. So when you are done with the app, you will get this kind of thing. So first is a PDF. So it says, well, I can continue reading, or I want to hear in the book format. I mean, want to watch book format or listen. So I'll say I want to stay with reading. So it goes about saying, my father's name was Kalyanji. Everyone called him Kalyan Bhai, and so on. He had a shop, and what the shop was about, and what kind of things mother did. And you go to the next one and keep on reading there. So these are fictitious, but about 15 chapters. And you have the PDF, and you'll be able to see that also. Or you say, no, I want to have it as a book. So it will be a book, just like you would have an index and so on. Or somebody said, no, I want to hear the guy. So I'm gonna, hopefully it works. This is AI avatar of a fictitious person called Hasmukhlal Vora. Anybody audio? It wouldn't work, huh? Let's see. That's the key part of it. I'm sorry. Um, but this is the narration of the book that Hasmuklal's AI avatar is talking. So imagine yourself, your avatar, who will summarize the book. That way, the children can hear as well as read the story. I will show you my own interactive avatar. Again, sorry you will not get the audio. This is myself. I'm so sorry. But this is not a video of myself. It is my avatar, my digital twin. It is sharing advice to the children as to what I went through and what you should be thinking about. This is what we will be having. Just like Hasmukhlal Vora was a fictitious, this will be your own. Then I will go to Avatar, interactive avatar, where I can ask questions. I have this is a recorded session rather than a live session. I'm sorry, audio will not work, but this is my avatar. And you can't see it, but at the bottom there are some questions here that are pre-prepared, or I can turn on my microphone and start asking questions. So I did some of them, and I tried that. It didn't work. I went here. No. How would you? Well, audio is on here. It's a full audio, but because of HDMI, it will not play here. That's okay. Yeah, you will get the link to it so you can play. But basically, like the question was asked about my name. Why is Jayaprakash? And I'm explaining that normally in most of the people, even in Western world, is named are after deities, Peter, Mary, Jesus, etc. Same thing in Hinduism. We have Parvati, uh, Shiv, Vishnu, etc. But my name had nothing to do with it. So I said, where did I get that name? Everybody is gone except my sister now. So I asked her. She said, oh, yeah. That is because when you were born, there was a big leader. Can you name that name? Jayaprakash Narayan. He was a big man in the politics, and eventually, if you remember, he brought down Indira Gandhi also. So one of my uncles named me as Jayaprakash in honor of Jayaprakash Narayan. Uh, Again, unfortunately, I can't do much on audio, but I will, if you write down, I'll send you the PDF also. So I'm suggesting that please, if you wanna have one of the members, we are going to choose 5 to 10 people to get this app free, including the AI avatar and so on. So I have a Google form, or you can send me an email where you can fill it out, and I will make sure that you are part of the test that we are doing right now. Any questions so far before I go further? Good question. Question is, what is avatar? Does anyone have an answer to that? Ram Bhagwan was avatar of whom? Vishnu. Avatar is in a way incarnation. And that's why a famous movie was made called Avatar, sequel of it also. So Avatar means incarnation. So, or in our digital parlance, I will call digital twin. It's my twin, but it's a digital, not my real one. Did I answer your question? Any other question? I hope you will all sign up. Okay, so now we go to the other part. What comes in the way of being 90 plus? And everybody raised their hand, 70 and 90. Not that many for 90. Any thoughts as to why we cannot live 90? Girish bhai? Depends on? Depends on your lifestyle. Plus gene, right? Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts? Destiny, your karma, environment. Very good. Good questions and answers. As a fact, some, pardon me? Attitude, absolutely. Attitude has a lot to do because mind over matter. But if you are not controlling your mind, if you are not getting peaceful sleep, you're not going to get a good health either. And when we talked about karma and destiny, one of the person had told me that we don't come with a fixed age. We come with a fixed number of breaths. How much do we breathe? So if you are given by God 1 million breaths, that's all it's going to be. Not a one more or not a one less. How do you go through that, suffering or not, is not the story. But the life is not by age. So I did research like Girish Bhai, and I came across several things. Lack of purpose. When you retire, all of us had an anchor, which was work. We went from 9 to 5, we prospered, we did this and did that. Suddenly now we are retired and there is no anchor. As a fact, most of the spouses will tell you, get out of the house. I don't want you to be in the kitchen. You never were here. But we are not prepared ourselves to stay actively, mentally, physically active. And if you're a type A person like myself, it is very hard because you need something to keep going. And as Anjana was telling me that she's not retiring for the same reason, because that work, that anchor is important to be active so mentally and physically too. Loneliness, people don't realize, but kids move away. Who do you talk to? Friends and spouses pass away. I know somebody who is in Detroit who decided to come to Willow Valley, but she said, I have been here for 40 years. I have all this many friends. What am I going to do there? Then we started asking questions. Okay, what about that person? Oh, well, no, he's in the hospital. What about that person? Oh, she passed away. So as we started talking, she realized that, yeah, all these friends that I'm talking about, they're not there anymore. And I won't be here either. And how am I going to pass life if my spouse dies? And that's what Girish Bhai is going to talk about. And depression can come in. And according to US General, Surgeon General, loneliness is equal to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It shortens your 8 years of life. You end up having depression and you don't realize it until clinically you are identified. So you have to plan on all these things so that it doesn't happen to you. Deterioration of the health as genes, genetics. My quality of life goes down. I need help. So there is a standard number called ADL, activities of daily life. These are by Medicare. When you have continence, you cannot control your bladder or bowel movement. Bathing, you may not be able to wash yourself in a normal fashion. Remember, this is related to age. As you age, some of these things happen. Some of us cannot get up from the chair easily. Or dressing. Some of us may not be able to eat very well. Somebody has to feed us as time goes on. The worst of that is fall. We fall as we age. We don't know how to balance ourselves. And there are 41,000 deaths because of the fall. So when you have two or more of these things you cannot do, you have to think about getting help, which is the long-term care. So my question is, anybody knows how many of us will need, not us, how many of US population will need long-term care? What percentage? Huh? 50%. So Girish says 50% of seniors will need long-term care. Well, correct answer from Medicare and census is 70%. So 70% of us, sooner or later, for some sooner, for some later. And fortunately, it goes off a cliff. We think we are healthy, suddenly the health goes down. And it goes down so fast that you can't control. So when that happens, we have to think about where am I going to get help? It can be in the home, could be I can move to assisted living, I can move to nursing home. Some of you may know your friends or relatives. My mother in law stayed for 3 years in a nursing home. It was very hard because it wasn't near our home, and my wife had to go from 9 o'clock to 8 o'clock every day for 3 years. We didn't have life per se. Her mom was more important to us than anything else. But when that happens, what can you do? Can you plan that ahead? That's what I'm going to be talking about. Has any one of you seen any of these facilities? Probably nursing home, maybe. But you should think about it. And most important, do you know what is the cost of getting this kind of long term care? A long term care in a normal situation is 3 years. So once you go to nursing home, count on person being dead on the average in 3 years. But if you got neurological disease, which is Parkinson's or dementia, your health is fine. There's nothing wrong physically, but your mind does not control anymore. You can live for 12 years, 7 to 12 years. My brother had, and he lived for 12 years. It was very hard on my Bobby. He had a Parkinson, and he would suddenly freeze and fall down. And my Bobby cannot lift him. He had to get the doorman to come and help. It was a hell. But that stress of 12 years of helping him went to her. And after he passed away, in 2 years, she got the colon cancer and she died also. So, not this idea that she always opposed going to the center. My husband, I will take care of her, take care of him. Not realistic. So, this is a median number. Median means half on the lower side, half on the upper side. So if you are in a nursing home in Pennsylvania, it will cost you 164,000 per year. Now this is median. If you go to 5-star like at Willow Valley, it will cost $700 a day. $700 a day. It's a 5-star. If you go to 3-star, it will be cheaper. But still, on the average, a median rather, is 164,000. Now, medical cost increases 6% every year. And I want to remind you, Medicaid does not pay for it. Sometimes people think, oh, Medicare will take care of it. No. First 90 days, and there's also on a sliding scale. It's not, they don't pay everything. So you got to find a way of either out of pocket from your own, but even if you do that, you may not get the right facility that is a good one. Because when you need, they may not have bed. And it happened to my mother-in-law. First time she went was near the home. Second year she fell down and we had to take her to another nursing home because the one near was not available anymore. My wife had to drive 30 miles every day. So you have to plan those things. That's why I'm saying this is important to learn. And the reality is the aging picks up on people when we are not prepared. Today we think I'm healthy and so on, and suddenly I start realizing I'm getting slow and not up to par. My body is telling me. And I remember Dr. Digavi, in old days in India, a doctor used to come to your home, right? She had come home and my mom was complaining about this aches and that aches. And after 5 minutes of calmly listening, he said, Banuben, this machine is getting old. And that's the reality for all of us. But we don't accept. As I was talking to somebody, we say, "હું તો અમરપટ્ટો લઈને આવ્યો છું. મને કશું નથી થવાનું." Then suddenly it happens. So this all three talks are along that line. We should be reinventing ourselves by being active. We should not ruin our finances by the cost of long-term cost. And it is not good to leave that burden on the children or spouse, like my Bobby carried on, which was not fair. So this is where moving to community-centric environment can help, which we call it as a life plan, and I'll come to that. But before that, let's talk about 3 stages of life: go-go, slow-go, and no-go. You have to start thinking, and you have to start planning when early, 70 or earlier. As Girishbhai said, if we plan early, properly to take care of our health, we'll be in a good shape. So I suggest to plan for long-term care no longer than 70, earlier the better. So when you're in go-go stage, you're newly retired, you're generally healthy and financially secure. You have new freedom of time. You can travel, you have hobbies, develop new hobbies, have grandchildren. Many downsized. We did, and we went to 55 plus community because we could not manage the 4,000 square feet home, cleaning and maintaining the pool and taking care of the trees and so on. So we moved somewhere else. Slow go, the body slows down. We used to take 3, 4 cruises a year. Now we have come down to two, and next year we may stop altogether. Body cannot take it. I'll sleep in the afternoon. I take a little longer sleep than I did before. Aches, arthritis, hearing, vision. I'm wearing hearing aid. I went through glaucoma surgery. They had to implant a drainage plant to drain my eyes to get lower pressure. Otherwise, I'll go blind. My short term memory becomes weak. Sometimes I can't remember the name. And driving reflexes slow down. Kids will say, take away your keys. I do not drive much anymore in the evening or night because of the lights coming. That's the reality. And most important, loneliness and fall become genuine medical risk and no go. Now you need somebody to take care of you. Long term care, when you need two or more of these ADLs that I talked about, then you need medical care, whether at home for a few hours or in a care facility. Now, home people say, oh, I will hire somebody. Gare aavse ne, kari lese. Well, this, you saw the cost, $78,000 a year. But that's not a 24 hours. And that's not a nurse. It's somebody who will come and bathe you and cook for you, take you out a little bit, nothing more than that. So you need different plan. So what does long-term care really mean? As I said, 70% will need. But if you have neurological, 7 to 12 years. And dementia is the fifth leading cause of death in USA. Unfortunately, people don't know what dementia is until you see one. By the time you get into it, it's too late. I know a very good friend of mine. She was a speech therapist at the Boston University. She was a cello player in the symphony, Boston Symphony. They moved to Willow Valley. Everything was honky dory. Suddenly, she started saying, where is the fork? Well, it was right there. She couldn't see it. She could not recognize the fork was there. COVID hit and she just went off the cliff completely. She could not recognize her husband at all. So we don't realize, but it's going to happen. Loneliness, as I said, is a very risk. After heart and cancer, the death from heart surgery, heart problem and cancer, third leading cause. Dementia is fifth. Fall is due to death to fall is the third leading cause in USA. As I said, 41,000 die. So somebody said, wait a minute, I have long-term care insurance, I'll get it. Answer is no. Only about 3 to 4% above 50 have long-term care insurance. Why? Two reasons. In old days, there were 100 plus insurance companies which give you long-term care. Now it's only 12, not 100, but 12. Why? Because they did not realize that people are going to live longer and they will have medical problems. And those which are existing, they're raising the premium and reducing the benefit. And they're denying. When I was 70, I said, let's look into that. Now I had diabetes. So I said, diabetes is not a problem. My wife went through cancer. God's grace that she should not be here today. But two reasons, karma, God's help, parents' ashirwad, and living at Willow Valley. And I'll tell you why. It's already now 12 years. after 3 cancer surgeries, she's still alive. But the point is, you try to get insurance. When we asked, they said if you were normal, it would cost you $2,800 a month to get the long term care insurance. And what would it give me? It would give me $120,000 per year between two of us. So if both of us went to assisted living, we would have to pay out of pocket. And it's only for 3 to 5 years. But if you're neurological, you can live longer. So long-term care for most of us is not worth it. And somebody said, yeah, but I can deduct. Well, no, you can deduct only 6,000, and that also only after 7.5% of AGI. So you can't get tax benefit either. So what is the option? We looked around and we said Life Plan Community, which is also called CCRC. CC stands for Continued Care. RC stands for Retirement Community. What it does, it combines independent living, like your home, and has on the campus or nearby facilities for medical long-term care. Those two combinations are very important, and I'll say more about it. The cost of that will vary on which kind of CCRC are you looking into. But having that nearby, my wife will not have to drive 30 miles every day to see me because I'll be right on the campus. She can come say hello and go and do her own things she wants to do. There are roughly 1960 CCRC in the US. Pennsylvania has the most. You know how many assisted living? 15,000. How many nursing home? 15,000 plus. And most of them are for profit, meaning they will not get a good service. They will cut the cost. So don't plan on being in assisted living or nursing home. Plan on going to Life Plan Community. When you move in, I always say move in early. We moved at 75. Wish we had moved earlier. Why? Because you are healthy. If you are healthy, you want to retire healthy life. And continued care, if I need, will be there. But I have to come early. How do you begin? You have to begin the search where you want to be and begin as early as possible. Visit as many as you want to visit. And I'll show some criteria you should look into. And then put the deposit down. Because you think, yeah, I'm ready, I have the money. No, they won't take you. There's a waiting list. And you may not realize, but every day 10,000 people are retiring in USA. Every day 10,000 people. The number of homes they are going to need in US is about 500,000 by 2030. And only 161,000 are planned, which means rents will go up. They'll be difficult to get the waiting list on. So you have to plan early and move. Now, one caveat, and I'll talk a little bit more. Type A requires you to pass the MOCA test, which is dementia. Because you can live 7 to 12 years, it's a big cost to them. They will never touch you with 10-foot pole if you do not pass the test. The test is very simple. It's only one page. But I have seen people failing right in front of me. One of the tests is to draw an analog clock. And they will say, okay, show me 5 minutes past 3 o'clock. People could not draw the clock. And they look very healthy to me. The test is something like this, very one pager. The total score is 30. If you pass, if you want to go to type A, you must get minimum 26. Some of you may be getting this when you go for annual Medicare exam with your doctor. And if they don't, you should look at it. And I say every year you should take it because it starts deteriorating. This friend in Detroit, she did not agree to me until we gave the mocha test. She passed only with 20. That means there will be no chance for her to move to type A. And why type A? And I'll come there. So what are the cost of the CCRC? There are three components. Entrance fee, which is large one-time payment. It can be refundable or non-refundable. And a portion of this fee can be used for deduction in your income tax. Then there is a monthly fee, which covers your residence, maintenance, property tax, your utility. You don't have to manage about the cost of the sewage or the water or electricity. You don't have to clean the pool. You don't have to cut the grass. No fertilizer, nothing. It's all taken care of. And it's also deductible in the income tax. Now, both fees will vary based on what you choose. If you go to California, the labor cost and the land cost is high. The apartment that we have, same apartment, we paid like 275,000 for the entrance fee. The same apartment I saw in California, in Santa Barbara, 750,000. So you have to compare what is available and what you want to choose. And the third component is the long-term care. If you are in type A, it is included. You don't pay any extra fee other than your monthly service fee. But if you go to different kind, so like in type A, yeah, you will have entrance fee, which could be higher than other, but all the high level care is included. So my monthly fees, which is predictable. So if I live in the supportive living for 12 years, it's not going to cost me any more other than incidental, like haircut or diaper or something. But everything is covered. If I go to part B, entrance fee is lower, but my care is only for certain days, and then I will get it at discounted rate out of pocket. If I go to C, then everything has to be paid at the market rate. And as I said, market rate at Willow Valley is $700 a day. So one say, well, I don't want to pay the entrance fee. You can go lower, but then you are taking risk here. So you have to balance the two. The refund, what are the fees, entrance fees? Refundable, which can go all the way to 90%, 0 or 90%. Zero meaning within 4 or 5 years, it will be used up. So if I leave after 2 years, I will get 50% back of the entrance fee. But after 4 or 5 years, I will get nothing back. But if I want 90%, yeah, you can get it. Like at Willow Valley, they have option for 90%. But if I'm paying $100 for my zero cost, I have to pay 170 for the 90% return. Now, if you're Bania like me, you say, wait a minute, 10% is gone right away. Whether I die tomorrow or 10 years from now, I don't get full 100% anyway. So the question, and I ask at Willow Valley, how many people choose the 90%? Less than 8%. Why? Because people know being there, you're going to live longer. So why don't I invest that $70 in the market? And we all know what market has done. So most of us, including myself, I moved in, my cousin moved in, my brother moved in, another friend moved in. I have two more friends that are coming in September, and I have four more who are coming in December or January, because they recognize that this is something we really have to plan for. The caveat, when they say refundable, don't think you're going to get money. I have a friend, unfortunately, she passed away. She was in Chicago. She went to a CCRC, 50-year-old CCRC, well reputed. COVID came. Nobody will come in. And if you don't have people coming in, there is not income for operating expenses. They went bankrupt. Similarly, in Detroit, Ford had its own CCRC. They went bankrupt. They were also there for 50 years. Same thing in New York. The New York one went bankrupt three times. I'm not kidding. So you have to do research before you choose something. And in her case, her children got 10% of so if she had paid 100,000, they got 10,000 back as a refundable, not the whole 100,000 or 90,000. So there's a caveat. Now, if you do non-refundable like we have done, it will have less entrance fee, but it will be amortized in 3 to 5 years. After that window, no refund. So now if I leave Willow Valley, I get nothing back. If I left in 2 years, then I would have gotten 50% back. What do you choose? I suggest if you are younger, meaning 70, 75, and if you have family with some longevity, then choose non-refundable and invest in the market. If you are older and longevity is uncertain, or you have some genetic issue like neurological, and you want to leave some money for your children, then choose refundable. But as I said, restrictions apply. You may not get the money back if they had financial trouble. So you decide which one is important. Now, tax. As I said, both entrance fee and monthly fee are considered a prepaid medical expense deduction if you itemize your tax return. So, like in 2025 at Willow Valley, we could have taken deduction for entrance fee of $57,000. And for monthly, we would have taken $45,000 in deduction. But remember, 7.5% of AGI. So if you are a high income, if your RMDs, the pension, everything is going up to like, 300, 400,000, this may not help you much, but it is there. And always ask for exact percentage in writing and check with your CPA. Just because the campus is beautiful doesn't mean anything. You have to look at what is behind that. If the finances are fragile, you got a problem. The most important two numbers are occupancy. How many apartments or units are occupied? Because that brings the operating expense. And credit rating. Fitch does the credit rating as an S&P also. It should be A plus as the highest, then A or A minus all the way to D. I always say choose A plus, A or A minus, nothing below that. Because that means they have such a credit rating, their finances are very strong. That means if they go to the market to create a bond for creating growth, they get a lower rate. And growth is very important for any CCRC. And always ask for uh, recent audited financials. Don't be shy. Ask as many questions as you can. So let's talk about two sides of it. Very first one is retirement part, RC part. What should you be looking at? You should be looking at the community and the money, meaning which contract it is. Look at the occupancy. Always go for more than 92%. 87 and below, meaning problem. Always look for the A range in the credit rating. Decide whether you want refundable or non-refundable. Choose the size unit and the floor plan. You should look at all of them and match with the numbers dollar wise. Look at the daily life. Do they have meal plan? Is it mandatory? Some places it is mandatory. And being vegetarian, I would not have been enjoying that meal if it was mandatory. Or can you have a opt out, which we did at Willow Valley? Or can you have a flat rate or a la carte? So when I want to eat something, I can go, otherwise, I don't pay anything. Number of dining venues, how many restaurants they have where I can go and eat? What kind of menus do they have? Do they change often? Do they have registered dietitian who plans all the meals? All of these things are you to look at it. Check for the cleaning. Do they clean? Yeah, at Willow Valley they do have the maid service, which is like $33 an hour or something. But they also clean every year, complete deep cleaning. And every 10 years, they refurbish the whole building as well as your apartment. These are the things you have to look at it. What is included? Is TV included or I have to pay extra? Internet, laundry, whatever. Another thing I found is distance from your unit to the dining venue. As you get older, you start using the walker and it becomes tough. So find the unit which is nearer the dining if you are dining there. Also, the distance from your unit to the supportive living. If you have to walk long, like if I'm there, my wife can come there in less than 8 minutes to my room in the supportive living. Safety. Look at the grounds, look at the guest rules. Are you allowed to have the guest? Do they have a hotel or guest suites that they can stay there? Do they allow you to come and stay overnight yourself first, and then once you move in, can your guest can like your children can come in and stay overnight? Most of them would say only for 2 days or at the most 2 weeks. Otherwise, you have to pay. Look at the curb appeal. At Willow Valley, every summer and spring, they plant 15,000 flowers. The curb appeal is important because you want to feel that you are in a really five-star place. Uh, and do they have resident council, which takes care of the residents' problem with the management? When you come to the continued care, look at the facility. Some of you may know Yash Amin. He had come to Willow Valley first time. He brought a doctor friend with him, and they went to the medical. And the doctor said, "This is the place." Why? He said, "The first sign of wrong place is you smell urine, which means they are not taking care of your patients." He said, "Go, get the apartment in Willow Valley." So you have to look at whether it's on campus. Some of them have that, but away from the campus. It's outsourced. Look at how many beds do they have. What are the inspection report? When we went, my wife had just come out of the cancer and she had tremendous diarrhea because of the treatment, almost 30 a day. And she wanted to make sure that when she pushes the button, how quickly the nurse will come. Ask the report. Report from the Medicare as well as from the residents and their family. Look at the ratio, how many staff they have per resident. Is there a 24 by 7 registered nurse on the campus or in your own building? Do they have call bell or pull cord? In my case, I have a Vaso vehicle, and I'm sure Ashish knows that. And in 7 years that I'm there, I fell 3 times, became unconscious, and fell down. My wife just pulled the cord. Within 3 minutes, we had the security guard. Within 5 minutes, we had the registered nurse. That I cannot get at home. If I had a vessel vehicle at home, she may not know and I may have died also. But here, it's those kind of things you should look for. Do they have doctors who come visit for your dental if you are in the continued care part? Like we have a podiatrist who comes and we just got our nails cut by the podiatrist because I can't reach and clip my nails. Do they have transportation to the doctors, to the labs, to the hospital, to the shopping? Do they have your own pharmacy? Can you buy from your own pharmacy or you have to take what they give you? Do they have pendant alarm? Do they charge you for the haircuts? Yes, in our place, haircuts, laundry supplies are extra. So you have to start early, as I said, and how is most of the people choose? First, look at your current expenses. Don't think that you have lower expenses. You got to count everything, including roof repairs that you may have to do in 2 years or 5 years, as detailed as possible, and then add the long-term care cost. Now, if you're part of the 30% who are not going to need long-term care, then take the risk. Who cares? I'm going to die anyway. I'll die without anybody helping me. And it does happen. I have my neighbor at Willow Valley, two of them. They were 92 and 94. Healthy like, you know, every day we'll go for a walk. And one day I saw him at 9 o'clock in the night. He had the, Bandra toppy and going for a walk. I said, "Are you crazy, Archer? It is at cold outside." He said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, that's okay. I got to do that." 2 weeks after that, I didn't see him. What happened? He came home after a walk, collapsed in the bathroom. So, yeah, you can be part of the 30%, but no guarantee. Research. Do a lot of research. Do a lot of reading. Make a short list of where you want to go and look at it. Look at everything, contract type, occupancy rate, amenities, credit rating. Go more than once. We went 5 times to Willow Valley before we decided. And every time you go, they will give you free lodging and boarding. And they will make sure that you talk to the residents, not to the sales, but to the resident to get their direct feedback and start early. Place deposit. If you like two places, place deposit two places. They will give you money back anywhere. But get the in the entry. You must qualify. Basically, million to million and a half is a common lower threshold because they want to make sure that you live life as if you did before. So your life standards should not go down just because you moved there. And of course, the entrance fee generally is paid by selling your home. And you must qualify medically. As I said, MOCA test wise, you have to get 26 for the dementia. If you don't, no type A will take you. Yeah, you can go to B, C, or D, but then you have to pay $700 a day type of cost. When unit is offered, you can accept or decline. In some cases, they will say if you decline, then you go to the end of the line. Some places they say no, you decline 3 times, then we will take you to the end of the line. At Willow Valley, they used to have that. Now they have, if you decline, that's okay. Your number will still remain where it is. Next time it opens up, you will get a chance. You must get the medical test done. And for entrance fee, you can pay in stages. You don't have to pay all at the same time. But before you move in, you have to pay. Now, there was a time in 2008, there was a lot of financial problems. So they said, no, you can still move in as long as you show that you have put your house on sale and on good faith, we will accept you. But if you get the possession, like this friend of mine, he got it, but he's not ready to move because he's traveling. We did the same thing. We were 1 month, we got the possession, but we were in India. So you have to pay. Once you get possession, you have to pay. Very important. Never forget this. This is a life leaseholder. You are leasing this place. You are not owning it. You cannot pass on to your heirs. You must agree to the rules of the lease. So I cannot go out and hang my clothes in the balcony because it's a community living. So you must understand the rules. The entrance fee, what is it used for? It goes into the escrow and is divided for your long-term care. So if you ended up going to the long-term care, remember they're not asking any more money. So where does it come from? it comes from this entrance fee. Read the contract, read the resident handbook, check with your CPA, check with your attorney, make sure you do the due diligence. Yash had looked at 30 CCRCs. And a very interesting story, he came from India and his mother in law used to live with his brother in law in New York. So they wanted to visit, and he said, you can come, but she's now in the CCRC, costing $18,000 a month. They went there, eyes open, and she was dead. Hands were not even folded. In other words, there was nobody taking care of her. He said, I will not have that. So he went for almost a year and a half everywhere, New Mexico, California, Florida, to look at it, made a wonderful spreadsheet of 30 different CCRCs. And one day he was with a doctor. Doctor said, I haven't seen you for a while. Where have you been? In York. He said, well, this stupid, it's right under your nose. Go to Willow Valley. He came there, new building was just going up. He signed up right away. And to share the story, when he came, he was worried because he was one of the very few first Indians. And he said, how am I going to get along with? Will they take care of me? All these white Americans. And the CEO said, I guarantee you, in 6 months, if you leave, I'll give you everything back. Forget the contract, I'll give it back. He said, Jay, I'm glad I stayed because he is in the building which has 50 units. When his wife Rita had a cancer, when she came from the hospital, there were 49 bouquets from the residents in the building. He said, I would have been in the Bhutia Bangla if I was in New York. He had a 7,500 square foot custom built home. He's so happy there. But he had to make a decision. And his brothers and everybody said, you're stupid. Well, his brother just moved in also now. You got to have a renter's insurance. And don't think because you are there, you don't need medical. You do need Medicare, supplemental, or advantage plan because those things cover your doctor visit, hospitalization, and drugs. CCRC just covers your long term care that Medicaid does not. What do you get in return? You get to enjoy carefree living. When I was taking a shower, and for some reason, the shower door broke. Luckily, it was a tempered glass, so it fell in small pieces rather than hitting me on my body. Picked up the phone, called them, they came and replaced it. Otherwise, I would have to go around looking for some handyman to figure out what to do, what not to do, all taken care of. If your toilet doesn't flush, you just call and they'll come and fix it. Those are all part of the maintenance free. I don't have to clean the pool anymore. I don't have to cut the grass anymore. When you're in Taipei, regardless of the unit you have, whether it's a studio or a 3,200 feet villa, you get the same medical service. It's not that because you paid more, you're going to get better. No, it's the same, studio or not. And if you are in Taipei, then you pay nothing extra other than your monthly fee. Now, this was, of course, fire hose of information. I do have a detailed memo, about 47 page or something, which is what kindly Ashish took and made the slides for this presentation. A lot of information in there, a lot of links are in there, a lot of things that you may have questions that you can read and ask me. One of the things which comes up is, but I want to leave my money to my children. And my children said, as a fact, my son came on the last fifth visit, and we went to the continued care, and he saw how lovingly and caringly the nurse was feeding a dementia patient of 94-year-old. He said, Dad, Mom, sign the contract today. The money you have is for your safety and your comfort and not for us. You already gave us the best Ivy League college education. We are on our own. But this is the best gift you are giving us. We don't have to worry about you. If something happens, we know you have friends other than us who are all around you. We have right now about 20 people who are of Indian origin and about 20 Chinese origin. And Yash told me when I was debating, he said, Jay, you don't have money. And I asked three times, I said, what do you mean? He said, you don't have money until you spend it. Until then, it is bank's money. So don't hesitate for this entrance fee or anything. It is for your safety, your comfort. You earned it. You worked all your life to do what? To take care of yourself. So you got to pay that. Some of you, I think, may have visited Willow Valley with years. So some, it may be repeat, but I will show you. Yeah, we have like the six lane bowling alley. Uh, I'll show you the numbers. Again, no sound, but hopefully at least the picture will help you to see. This is the building where Yash lives. This is a townhouse in Villas. This is the building where we live. Right in that corner is our unit. Look at the curb appeal. There's one guy who cuts the edge of the grass. We normally go straight. He goes at 45-degree angle. When Yash told me, I didn't believe it until I saw the guy. Sure enough, 45 angle. And he said, I walk 15 miles every week for the campus. Some numbers. We are 28 100 residents. When I talked about waiting list, we have 740 families who are waiting, which means if you want to be in there, put your name now. Because those existing units, people have to die or both have to go to the medical care until apartment becomes available. So there are not too many available. You have to wait either for the new construction or apartment being emptied. We have about 1,600 team members, almost 1,700 units, over 210 acres. Actually, now it's 100, not 95, 100 plus different floor plans. You can choose condo, townhouse, villa, ranging from studio all the way to 3,200 square feet. It is a 98% occupancy rate. Credit rating is A. There are only 5 CCRCs in USA, which is an A rating. And it is number one by Newsweek. Out of all the CCRCs, Newsweek did the survey and they chose for the type A, number one is Willow Valley. There are two physical therapies, right? I mean, centers, about 14 therapists. So you don't have to go out of the building. Uh, there are 574 beds for assisted living, nursing, memory care. 24 by 7 registered nurse. As I said, my wife just pulled the chain and the nurse was right there. There's an on-campus 2 audiologist. There's a wellness center which is staffed by nurse practitioners. Of course, the spa, about 5 auditoriums. One is 500-seat most modern auditorium, 4 swimming pools. One is 24 by 7 in my own building. So last night we went to jacuzzi to get ready for today's lecture. Nobody was there, just us enjoying it. There are 6 different gyms, so I don't have to have a gym membership. There are four wood shop, 13 dining restaurants, 2 banks on the site, 6 libraries. They have travel outing, they take you to Baltimore, Sedona, Alaska. Of course, you have to pay for it, but they plan everything to the point that nurse comes with you and they have all your vitals record with them. So if something happens, they have ready. There are buses and on-demand cars. So like I don't have to drive from one campus to the other campus. My wife loves bingo. So there's a bingo in other campus. She just takes the on-demand. She calls and the car comes, takes there and comes back. Even the blood test, I don't have to go to the lab. They come at home and take my blood and urine to do the testing. The most is coming up this September, it will be opening the most modern European style $60 million memory care center for 140 beds. It is nowhere in USA like this. There are new 16 townhouses coming up in 2027. And there's an ultra luxury 20-story building coming up in 2029 in downtown Lancaster. These are important because these are growth. If there is no growth, then there is no capital coming in. There are lots of clubs, 100 plus clubs. By the way, all these links, if you click on it, you will see the whole list of it. From art to shuffleboard, ukulele, volleyball, quilting, model, drone, railroad, yacht club. You saw some yacht club going on. And if you don't like any of them, you can start your own. There are 500 events per month. So there's no dearth of activities. You can remain active. If you want to be alone, that's fine. But otherwise, plenty of things. Loneliness is not a problem here. And then let me share some numbers. All these amenities help us to remain active, healthy, and live longer life. Look at the numbers. 70 to 79, that 931 individuals in Willow Valley. 80 to 89, which I'm part of it, 1,200 of them, 1,300. 90 to 99, 440. Here we had only one person, 90. 440 are there. Even 100, there are 16 people, 100. Why? Because there is no loneliness. There's medical care right there. I can get everything that I need. That is why people live active, healthy life and a longer life. We call it as a life lived forward. Now we have discovery tours every month. This September 17th, there's a discovery tour from 10 a.m. to noon. And you can register for that if you just go to the link Discovery Tour and you can sign up. They have every month, but you don't have to come to Discovery Tour. You can just say, I want to come and I want to stay there for 2 days. So you come, meet all the residents, see the facilities, and so on. This is what we call it, as I say, life lived forward, not backward. We want to enjoy the life moving forward. And there are lots of links I have given here. Different videos, all the publications like disclosure statement. You must know that. You got to show to your CPA. What are the costs for extra services? So, like if I want maid service, what will it cost me? All of those things are here. The magazines, Renaissance, Weekly Insider, Chautauqua Hall, all of these are there. And read this document at the end to see more information. Thank you. I wish you the best of luck in your new journey. Feel free to send me an email or call me. I may not be there, leave a message. And please link the sign up for your free app to create your life story. Thank you.
Thank you, Jai. There is a long waiting list where he lives. He was just sharing his experience, the place he's living. He's not any salesperson or not anything. So just sharing his experience to compare and if anybody interested. So he was creating awareness about all this retirement community. Girish has one question. After that question, we are wrapping up this seminar. If you have any question or concern or to talk to Jay, you can come and other people can leave because there is back-to-back program. 4 o'clock people have to come back. Girish.
Hello, Jai. This question is for you. Basically, it's not a criticism, but it's a concern. Okay? The idea is there are a lot of such centers. When it gets to 25, 30 years old, when the facility gets older, and a lot of HOA runs into the same kind of problem. There are a lot of maintenance, a lot of roof replacement, whatever, road rebuilding, everything is getting old. Okay? Second thing, a lot of people are getting old as the years go by. So people who die, they go away, and person with the Parkinson, dementia, they stay long and long and long. So what happens? How do I know that 20 years from now, when I really need it or somebody else need it, they will have finance to maintain this? You say it's A grade is the best one. Waiting list is a good sign. The continuous growth is needed. If stop growing, then they might not have fund to take care of you. So this is my question, and maybe all of them would like to know. How do you know that 15, 20 years from now they will have finances and they can still provide whatever they promise?
Thank you. Very good question. If I understood the question, what is the financial situation of Willow Valley, right? That's what you are saying.
From now, 15 years, 20 years from
Yeah.
now.
We have been around, Willow Valley has been around for 40 years, 40. And if you come there and you see, my building is 30-year-old, and Willow Valley has nickname called cruise ship among the cornfield. And if you've gone to cruise ship, you will see those stickers saying wet paint, wet paint. You will see the same thing there. They are taking, when you walk in, you say, my God, this cannot be more than 2 years old. It's a 30-year-old. And they have maintained the A rating, which I said only 5 CCRCs have A rating out of all of in the country. And they have maintained that for last 10 years. And every time new construction happens, there'll be a drop in the rating because they want to, rating people want to know when is the occupancy going to happen. So when we do this $210 million project in downtown, it may go down to A minus. But I just had a presentation last week by the credit agency, and they said, but that's going to be only temporary. As soon as the building starts getting occupied, you'll be back to A. So your point is very important. That's why I say that you must look at the credit rating, how strong they are and how long they have been in that credit rating. And are they having growth? If they're not having growth, they will have problem. Do they have occupancy? Because if you're not having residents paying monthly fee, how are you going to pay all the facilities, operational costs? All of those criteria you have to look at. The only reason I would say Willow Valley, we looked at every criteria. Yes, did more than I did. His brother is also there now. We all looked at it and said, there is nothing else like this. And I was talking to the financial company who give the bond rating, I mean, bond to the search people like this. They said, Jay, Willow Valley is a totally unique animal. There's nobody like that because everybody talks more about the medical part, but very rarely talk about the residential part, how good they are and how they are taken care of. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, can you give the mic, Arishvi?
Thank you very much, Mr. Shah,
You're welcome.
for a wonderful presentation today. I do want to ask you that before deciding on this home that you have moved in, did you have a chance to calculate how much would be the difference if you stayed in your small home with help that you decided and chose compared to the home that you are in now? Because the only difference is the presence of a medical team, which may be either nurse or a doctor or just trained personnel. What is the difference in expense?
This is the many people's question. This everybody thinking about and comparing.
And I'm glad you're doing that. To answer your question, first of all, we did sit down and look at all the numbers of the cost of being in the home. As I said, including I'm gonna need the cost to repair my roof in 2 years. I have to count that. If I have a pool, I have to count how much I'm paying for cleaning the pool. I have to count everything. Like we had a very large home with all the sprinklers, right? Every year there were 4 sprinklers or so will be broken. So we had to replace that. All of that cost you have to count on it. Then you have to add the long-term care cost, what the insurance will be. Now, this is where the difference between what Anjana said is important. Her point, if I understood correctly, is that all I'm getting is extra nurse or extra doctor. No, you're getting long term care, meaning you're in a facility which is staffed by doctors and medical personnel to take care of you when you cannot take care of yourself or your spouse cannot take care of yourself. That's why the definition is long term care. If I just need a doctor, I don't have to move. I have the doctor nearby. I have the hospital I can go to. But if I cannot do those ADLs that I talked about, now I am dependent on somebody. Who is the dependent? My children? Forget it. My spouse is about the same age as myself. Do you think I'm going to count on her taking care of me? My Bobby did. It was terrible. She died after 2 years after he died. So the big difference is really the long term care. The second difference is activities. I mean, we go bowling, we go swimming, there's a golf also, there are libraries, we have clubs. And I go to a club called Foreign Relations. So we have intellectual people sitting down and talking about foreign relations. We economics club, which talks about what is happening in the banking, what is happening in the market. We have chess club, you name it. And if you don't, like when I started there, there was no club about vegetarian. So I started a club called Alternative Food Club. And I thought, 5, 6 will show up, 70 showed up. They're all interested in doing something different. So to summarize, it is two important parts. Can I stay at home and enjoy my life? Yes, you can. Is it cheaper? Yes, until you add the cost of long term care. If you don't need long term care, if you are not going to be lonely, you don't need all the people around you, you don't need all the activities, you're happy being on the porch, swinging on the chair, and watching TV, then yeah, why should you come? But if you don't have those things, as I said, 70% of us is going to need it. That is why planning ahead. You don't want to have the burden financial or on children. As I said, my children and my son said, sign the contracts today. I don't want to have worry about you. Part of the reason my wife is still around 12 years after cancer is because of all the activities. There's no loneliness unless I want to be alone. I don't know, did I answer your question? Welcome.
I have one question. We had an opportunity to visit this place with when Yashbhai Bhuri and also Rohit Amin Bhuri. So we know the location of the place. The location is, it's a big campus, and what we are wondering is if you want to live independently, we don't want to have a food plant so long as we can able to cook and all that. We lived in New York over 30 years, so all of our physicians and everybody has been around this area. Now, if we have to keep our physician here and move there, and doctor's visit, going out for grocery shopping and all that, how do we do that? Because the location of Willow Valley in Lancaster, when we drove, we were driving for quite a while before it came. So that is going through that. You mentioned that they provide transportation service, but would they provide transportation service for grocery shopping, doctor's visit in New York, and all those things, because changing all the physicians and everything is a kind of chore, if you want that. So that's going through my mind.
Very important. I'll start backward. Yeah, they do take the bus to the grocery stores. They do take to the local doctor. There is no one who is going to bring you here to. unless you have your own car and you want to do that. When I moved, I had a very good cardiologist in New Jersey. And I promised her, I said, I'll drive here. It's only 2 hours away. No, it doesn't happen. Second answer to that is, how many Indian doctors are in US? Ashish, you can tell me.
I don't know the exact number, but I would probably say probably upwards of 5 to 6,000.
More than that. What I'm trying to point out is that if you worry about your own doctor, it's not going to be there. Agreed. But I can tell you, Lancaster is one of the top medical center. One of the resident in Willow Valley, Bessinger, she donated money to the Lancaster General Hospital. Now they have the most modern cancer center there. So medically, there's three. One is UPMC, other is Penn State, and third is Penn Medical, Penn Medicine, right? They're all there. As a fact, as I say, I don't have to go to the lab. They come and take the blood. If I have to go for the X-ray, it's right on the campus. I don't have to go to the lab somewhere else. So yes, if you, and another part, like I have my friends. Well, my first question comes up is, how many times do you meet your friends? Well, some meet every week. Some meet once every 6 months. Well, the answer is, what is important, your health or your friendship? If you worry about long-term care, your friends can visit you. You can go visit them. You make new friends. And if you want only Indian friends, I would say don't come there. Yeah, it's the wrong place. But is that what your life is? I mean, you worked here for so many years. You're an intellectual person. Why don't you mix with other people? You have to be assimilating as well. At this age, if you don't, when are we going to do? Food wise, we did not take a food plant. We cook at home. And I have a friend, very interesting you asked about the food. He was in India last year. He had a backache. He went to the doctor there, and doctor said, you need surgery yesterday. Now, he had already applied, and he already had an apartment ready that he was going to take a position in March. And this happened in February. She called up saying, no, I'm not going to come anymore because I have to go for surgery. I have to call him from India saying, you're stupid. You're going for surgery. Who the hell is going to take care of you? You're talking about spine surgery. He's single. His brother and Bhabhi live about 30 miles from them. They're my age. Do you think they're going to take care of you? You better come. So he changed mind, he decided to come. So after the hospital and initial rehab, he came. Today, actually, he was going to come with us, but he had another backache. What happened? After rehab of 1 week, he came there. You know how many months he stayed? 10 months in Willow Valley supportive living. So first question, what are you going to do about the food? No problem, sir. We'll get you Indian food. Every day Indian food. In other words, all of these things that we are thinking of, correctly so, are minuscule in the larger scheme of things. And you have to really think about the future. And as I said, my wife and I said, why didn't we move earlier? We would have been much younger with all these activities to be involved. But if I want to rock on the chair on the porch, it's not the right place. You can do that. We do have a rocking chair right next to the pool, but that's not the life there. Did I answer correct? Any other? Yeah.
Thank you, Jay. Thanks for coming and explaining. Really, very, very well educative and very educative for us. Otherwise, we don't even know a lot of things. Thanks for doing a lot of analysis by all the three people. Thank you so much. I have a question. You talked about ratings, credit rating. Suppose after moving inside and spending some years, 1 or 2 years or something like this, anything goes wrong, bankrupt. What is your answer for that?
Thank you. It's the same question that Girish raised. What is the guarantee? Well, first answer is always, do you have a guarantee of your life? When are you going to be? No. Is there any guarantee on anything? No. However, how do we invest in the market? We do research, right? There's no guarantee, but we do research. Same thing you have to do here. So that's what Yash and I did. Everybody who came there, you should see all the people have created the spreadsheets to look at all the options. As I said, out of this almost 2,000 CCRCs, only five who have A rating, only five A rating, which means is most favorable investment bond. So people come fall all over to give money to Willow Valley. Now, is it only one time? No, it's been there for 10 years. And then you say, wait a minute, but is there an occupancy? Yeah, as I said, 98% occupancy. Then the question comes, is there a growth? I just showed you all the growth. Those are the things you should look at it and compare, and you must compare. You must go look at it because you got to have some comparison to see whether it makes sense or not. So my answer is no. I will never give a guarantee. Nobody will guarantee. But I look at the history and look at the numbers that I have mentioned, and I say I'm safe. For 40 years, it's been in existence. So I would rather go with this than somebody else. Did I answer?
So
Sorry.
before we go to the next question, no, keep it. The next question. Today it was just retirement about the retirement community, but September 12th next seminar is going to last 3 hours, 10 to 1 o'clock. We will provide light refreshment before seminar and after seminar lunch. So there will be many topics very interesting for two generation, your generation and your next generation. So please bring more people to the next seminar, and it will be very interesting. And thank you everyone for all you came for this seminar. We have a few more questions here in the summer.
Thank you. My question is, what is the criteria for admission to a nursing home? You talked about staying at home versus long-term care and then nursing home. So who are the people who actually go to a nursing home and why?
Okay, the question, if I repeat correctly, is what are the criteria to be in the nursing home? Is that correct? Okay. First of all, you go to assisted living or nursing home when you cannot do those activities of daily life. So if you have two or more, you cannot do yourself, you need help. That's when all these medical services come in. So when I say long term meaning it's not just one day or 1 month or 1 year. If you need this for ongoing, that's the long term. Now, most important criteria for type A, you cannot have dementia. They will never take you. Even if you have slight impairment, they will not take you. Who had a question?
Is there any age limit?
Oh, wonderful question. Is there an age limit? Yes and no. The- we met a people, I know you remember last year, they moved in, they were healthy, but she was 96 and he was 98. He said, we've been healthy, but man, we know we are not getting in trouble. So we better move in. So there is no cutoff of limit to come, but there's in the higher, but NY earlier, no earlier than 55. We have people who are 55, but after that you are open. And only other restriction is refundable. If you want refundable, they will not give you if you are 79 or above. That's the only restriction in the age. Does that?
Thank you for the excellent presentation, sir.
Thank you.
My question is that does one need to be retired to apply to this facility, or can they apply and still be working?
Excellent question. The criteria is, I'm working. Can I come there? The answer is absolutely yes, on following understanding. As I said, minimum age is 55, and we have people of that age, but they are working from home. They are not commuting to Harrisburg or something. So if you are having that kind of services, then yeah. But if you have to say, well, I have to go to my doctor every other week to Harrisburg, no, that's not the place to be. But yeah, retire. You don't have to be retired. As a fact, there is no such thing as a retirement there. As I was talking to Anjana, I said I'm more tired there than retired because of all these activities going on. I teach computer classes there, including AI, and I teach about 16 classes every year. And I'm not the only one. And I have all the literature that you can take it with you. And if you look at the monthly calendar, you will see there's so many activities going on. So the requirement is, of course, you have to be healthy. You cannot come in if you are not healthy. Healthy meaning two parts. Cancer, no problem. But dementia or Parkinson's now they are allowing, but no dementia. Anu, you had a comment?
I just wanted to let everybody know, we also went through, there are, when we are saying that we always feel in comfort zone.
Pass it on.
We know our friends, neighbors, relatives, children close to us. So we have got so comfortable life. And it's
Keep it.
hard to imagine living, and it's a very hard decision. The comment I wanted to pass is that this place, there are 20 Indians or not no Indians. People are very friendly, very, very helpful, no discrimination, and they really welcome you and are there to help you every step of the way. When you came or you're staying, anything you want to join, so you won't feel uncomfortable in the sense of they will accept you very willingly. And there is, I know they are not in the rocking place or something. You have a lot of things going on with your neighbors, friends, and family. It's just a different experience, hard to decide, but people are good and very, very friendly and helpful. Uh, One more thing I don't know, he didn't mention, but there is a program called Smart Life,
Oh, yeah.
which where people, I think maybe I'm not able to talk. This my
Yeah.
thought.
Smart Life is another program. Unfortunately, it is not applicable here. But they have people who live in the home, like she was talking about, but they want to make sure that when the time comes, I can move to Willow Valley. So there are certain counties which are taken care of where they pay like, 10,000, 15,000 something per year. And they live in their home. They enjoy all the amenities at Willow Valley. They can come and swim or they can come to the music program or whatever. And if they need help, there'll be home care. Somebody will go to their home and provide the care. But when they come to the situation where they need long-term care, then they will be given preference to move to Willow Valley. So there is a Smart Life program also. And as Anu said, Rita, when she came back from the hospital, there were 49 bouquets of flowers waiting for her. I mean, you cannot expect the kind of love and friendship that is there. There is absolutely zero discrimination from residents or from management. Absolutely different. Sorry.
Let's wrap up this seminar and let's give big hand to the Jai Bhai for wonderful presentation. Thank you everyone. Thank you Jai Bhai. There is downstairs tea is waiting for you if anybody wants to drink tea.
Last comment. Do pick up the brochures if you want. Do call me and do sign up for that program of having the app for your life story. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.
That was wonderful.
It went well.
I think you did amazing. Your presentation was very genuine because you have lived the experience. So I compliment you. Thank you.